Hi, and welcome to We Connect, the Homecast. I am so excited to bring you this particular episode because this is our first in person episode, and our guest has invited us to her home. So sit back, grab your snacks, and let's discuss in the midst of it. And yes, when you're in the middle of absolute chaos, what do? When you're in the middle of so many challenges, what do we do? So that's our discussion today, and I hope you enjoy. See you on the other side. So this is my neighbor, Kiesha. Kiesha, how are you today?
I am doing well, thank you.
How was your day so far?
Rainy.
Yeah, it is rainy. It is very rainy.
I'm very cool.
That's the reason why I'm wearing a over sundress. It's raining. It's supposed to be spring, and we are in Baltimore.
Yes,
We are, and we are seated here having fun today because we wanted to have a discussion about the difficulties that we as women have to experience in life. And I say have to because honestly, I don't think I've ever spoken to another woman who has not had these challenges. And it doesn't matter where you are, what country you're in, how old you are. I think once you're a woman, you have to deal with things.
Most definitely.
So we're going to try to navigate this space and actually talk about the difficulties we have as women. So sit back, relax. Let's get into it. Let's talk about dreaming as little girls. Did you dream? I have a lot of dreams. My whole business is designed around dreams, but
I think I dreamt too much.
what is dreaming too much? What is dream? I don't know. What is dreaming too much? What do you think?
I mean, as a little girl, I would say I dreamt everything would be a fairy tale.
Oh gosh, yes.
You would grow up and have the perfect marriage,
Well,
perfect kids, perfect job.
I didn't think so much about marriage. I never wanted to get married. I'm gonna say it's out there, but I dreamt of the perfect job and the perfect bank account. And just doing the things that you wanted, that everything was going to be easy once you were obedient to your parents. That was my thing. I was silly like that. I say silly like that because here's the thing. Obedience is one thing, but then what are you obeying, and what is the impact of the things that you're obeying on your life? Because you could obey the wrong thing, right? So
That is true.
yeah, but I dreamt too. I dreamt of
The perfect life. I didn't think that I would have to work hard for anything. I thought that once I became an adult, the house would come easy and the car would come easy, and I would get a job that I always wanted, and it didn't happen.
But I guess yeah. But why do you think it didn't happen? How does it really match up? You We are saying that it didn't happen. It really didn't match up really with the dreams. Real life and dreams were like really far apart. But do you think that it stopped you from dreaming?
No, it didn't. But I would say though that one would have been like a Disney Channel kind of dream.
Oh wow.
Things that you see and it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get this when I am older. When I'm an adult, this is how my life is gonna be. You know, that fantasy. No, I won't say that everything didn't happen.
Okay.
It just didn't happen the way that I thought it would.
Yes.
And the work that I had to put in for it to happen.
That part.
That is the reality part of
That
it.
part, the work part of it. Like I was told, if you study hard, if you're obedient to your parents, if you do the right thing and you're a good girl, everything is going to be perfect. And whatever you want in life, you work towards it, is going to happen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
I'm still working towards it. Let's see.
Disney.
Disney.
But I didn't believe in the dresses and the frills and the frou-frou. I didn't. I was more of well, that Disney character, Brave. I wanted to go, conquer things. Yeah, do things that girls didn't necessarily do.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was all about the dresses.
Yeah, you can have all the dresses. You can have all the dresses. So when did you realize that everything was vastly different? At what stage? Was it while you were still preteen, teenager, adult?
I would say adults.
Seriously?
Yeah, I would say adults.
Why so late, ma'am? Because I realized that thing by teenage years, like, something's wrong.
So my teenage years didn't have much going on then. Not much responsibility. Yes. Still living at home, wasn't working. Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Let's just go back to teenage years. So most teenagers, especially today,
Yeah.
and young adults, like people or women at the age, and boys too, the guys too, at the age of maybe 30 are still in their parents' home. And for our generation, okay, not calling any numbers, we weren't supposed to be in our parents' home by that age. We were supposed to have our ish together.
And that's what we would like. That's what we hoped for.
And that's what we worked for. But for the teenage years, it was all about, for me, I was told, get your head in a book.
Yes.
And keep it there and achieve something, and I will do most things for you. But then I had the responsibilities of taking care of the younger sibling while my mother was out, and my background is from a single parent home kind of thing. And so I had more responsibility. I had to take care of them. Well, him.
Okay.
And the home. Make sure the meals were done. Not because she was neglectful, simply because she was working outside the home morning, noon, and night, right? So, I was a latchkey everything from childhood up.
That is how a lot of single parents
Yeah.
is even today, a lot of responsibility is on the older child to help with the home. But that just wasn't, I guess, my story. I probably had my first job at around 20. I didn't have to work as a teenager.
Wow. That is so then that changed your perspective. That kind of made you walk into adulthood with, I don't want to say blinders, but still having the rose-colored glasses.
Oh, what blindness?
Having the rose-colored glasses and still looking for the fairy tale.
Yes. Yes. I was still looking for fairy tales at 19. Yes.
Gosh. Oh, at 19 I was working.
No.
Okay. All right. So then give me your perspective. Give us your perspective. Okay. At what point did the blinders start falling away?
Adulthood. And very well into it, I would say, after I became a mother. And I am not going to say at what age that was.
That's okay. That's fine.
Because I lived at home all that time. I did not move out from home until I had my first daughter. And I always used to say to myself, anytime I start having children, I'm going to leave and be on my own. So 3 months after I had my first daughter is when I left home.
Okay.
And that is when I had to start to use YouTube and Google to learn to cook.
No. Yes. Oh, wow.
And that is when I had to learn to start budgeting, because the baby need diapers and milk, and rent needs to be paid, and lights need to be paid,
and life needs to happen.
And the money is finishing before the next paycheck.
Yeah. So reality started to look vastly different from what you were experiencing.
Yeah, it was no longer Disney Channel. No.
What channel was it then? Lifetime?
Lifetime. Yes.
How did you cope? How did you transition?
It was not easy. And it took a while. I mean, I don't want to say that it's easy now, you know?
I don't think it ever got easy, but I digress.
It wasn't easy. It was a lot of trial and error, learning from experiences, mixed with anxiety and depression.
Gosh,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. And I would kind of not hesitate, but just kind of walk into this gently. Depression was not something we were supposed to experience. Depression was something that people who did not have, and people who were on the streets, and people who had serious problems were the ones to deal with depression. We weren't supposed to deal with depression. We were supposed to be strong, and this is part of life, and you just have to do what you have to do.
Yeah.
But depression was real, and it wasn't
is very real.
recognized. It was not acknowledged. It was not treated with. So for most of our lives, we kind of walked around depressed, not knowing that we were depressed.
Yeah.
Wow. So did you get stuck? Did you get like sucked in? So for me, I know that I was this good girl who needed to do everything right. So I got married young and I had my children young. And I thought, okay, I know marriage is a serious thing. So I'm walking into it with my eyes wide open and know that I have to do all the hard work. And I was used to taking care of a younger sibling and all the responsibilities. So yeah, I was cooking at 10. But I just kind of had to throw that at her.
Okay, I was eating at 10.
Guys, you see what I have to deal with? This is my neighbor today. This is, yeah. She was eating, I was cooking. So I guess it works. It works. But, I learned to do so much because, again, single parent household, being the oldest one in the house at the time, taking care of my brother. So at the end of the day, I knew what I needed to do to run an entire household before I was a teenager, and then did it in my teenage years while studying and all that. Now, this is not a complaint session. This is just like my life would reflect, some of your lives out there as well as hers, and it's a difference. But at the end of it, this is where we are.
Yeah.
We're women dealing with all the challenges of life, not having or trying to realize rather the dreams that we had, even though they seemed to be fairy tale dreams. Some parts of those dreams were serious. Some parts of those dreams talked about a career and earning capacity and even just the ability to do the things that we wanted to do. For me, it was travel. Always wanted to travel. And I happened to be speaking to a travel agent.
And someone who wanted to be a flight attendant. It's like when I was growing up, that's all I wanted. Listen, I am telling you, I applied to every airline.
I didn't.
That there was, because travel is the only thing I used to think about.
Travel was the only thing I thought about. And I had my best friend and we had this plan to become travel agents, get a house, buy a house, live by ourselves because we never wanted to be married, right? Because we didn't see the value of men. I'm sorry, we did not see the value of men in our lives. May I just say that I'm so questioning that.
But I was waiting for more. I was waiting to see what comes next. I'll just say.
Right. And so that was it. That was part of the dream. Of course, mine went a lot further, but those are the things that as young women growing up, we did not see. Well, for me, I did not see partnership being a necessary part of my life and being able to achieve the things that I wanted to achieve. For you saw the picket fence and the kids and the
Yes.
yeah.
Most definitely.
Wow.
Yeah. From
For me, that's an anomaly. Like you're this
from the age of 10. I was like,
you kidding me?
while I was
Wow.
eating, yes.
While you were eating when I was cooking. Okay.
Yeah, I just had this whole dream. Perfect home, perfect husband, corporate job.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The job part I'm with.
No, no issues, no arguing in your marriage, nothing. Everything was perfect. Everything was perfect.
Okay.
Until it wasn't.
Until it wasn't. Until it wasn't. Let's talk about when it wasn't. How do you like you're in this reality
Mm-hmm.
and it's not going the way you expected it to. And now what? We're stuck? Or did you feel
And
stuck?
yes, this is where I got stuck. This is where the depression and the anxiety started. Um,
Do
I
you
was
think it's because, not to cut you, but do you think it's because, and I'm kind of looking at it from my perspective, you didn't think you had a choice, or is it because you thought that you were doing something wrong which caused it not to work? Like, where was your mindset at that time?
okay. So I had my first daughter before I got married,
Mm-hmm,
and when I got married, I was pregnant with the second one.
mm-hmm,
And after I had kids, after I got married and I had kids,
mm-hmm.
marriage was difficult.
Marriage is difficult, full stop.
My spouse was difficult.
That's why marriage is difficult.
I did not have a supportive spouse.
Mhm.
However, I
I can
felt
see,
that
I can see everybody going, okay, yeah, and what's new?
I felt as though, okay, I'm already married. I have 2 kids. I can't
Mm,
go anywhere. I
wow,
should just stay.
right. So I had the same thoughts, but I feel like it's for a different reason. So
Mhm.
my reasoning, 2 kids, married, and I'm seeing stuff going contrary to what I expected it to
No
be.
fairy tales.
No, I had no,
No
honestly,
fairy
I've
tales.
never had and it's because I guess I had my eyes open, and this I attribute to God. I had my eyes open to what the reality of marriage was quite early. Um, so that I went into it knowing that it's going to take work, it's going to take commitment, it was going to take, dealing with the different people coming together. And I had it all mapped out. I was Miss Knowledge. So it was going to work regardless of whether.
And I was misinformed.
So misinformed and misknowledge here happen to have to converge at this point because guess what? It still didn't work, right? No, I'm saying it still didn't work, but and as the conversation continues, you'll understand why. But my misknowledge position, right? I'm miss know it all, and I'm working on this thing called marriage, and it's just not adding up. And there's the fairy tale aspect for me was Mills and Bones. Anybody remember that? If you don't look it up. You will see what my age is. Forget that. But those little romance knowledge for young adults, that was the aspect of marriage that I really thought was going to be real and true. And then I realized it wasn't. But again, Miss Know It All decided that, okay, fine, I can work around this and I can seek wise counsel, and they would direct me in the way that I should go. Guess what? They didn't. They didn't. I sought the wrong counsel. They weren't wise at all. They were not wise. They were unwise. Right. So that didn't contribute to a healthy relationship. Later on, I'd find out that God is the one who really needed to be part of
Yes.
my marriage and my life. So, but I feel like yours was, well, when you talk about misinformed, what contributed to that scenario, if you will?
In this case, I would say it was just my choice.
Mm.
My choice in the partner that I chose.
Did you really believe that though?
If you knew the individual,
But you wouldn't have known when you made that choice. Did you see all the markers, the red flags, as we like to see?
I guess I would have missed it because, okay, so I had my kids not at a
Mhm.
very young age, right?
That is awesome.
So after like you see time passing by and everybody's getting married, everybody having kids, and you're like, oh, I'm still single at the age of
X.
you're still single. So the first person that came along was like, okay, here it is.
Wow. That is, and that I think that is I don't want to say a lesson, but something to think about for women out here who are young, single, think that they ought to be married by a certain age and they ought to have kids by a certain age and have everything together. There's no guarantee that the person that comes around or the situation that comes around is correct for you for life because honestly,
And I don't know what to say.
so so do you think that you had external pressure outside of yourself pushing you into that direction?
Oh wait, no, this is a whole different conversation that we're going to have here because
Buckle in. Buckle in.
so apart from missing the red flags, because I am
Mhm.
realizing time is passing by, I'm a certain age.
A woman of a certain age.
That sounds so weird.
Sounds like Disney, but anyway.
Apart marriage wasn't even a question. It's like not even being in a relationship, not dating anybody. It's like, so when am I going to start a family? And like I said, the first person that came along was like, okay, this one have to be it, right? Mind you, I met him in church.
Which would have been a plus in our understanding.
Which we would think is a plus, right? But the math wasn't matching with that plus sign.
No.
I'll just say that. And then earlier I said that I had my first daughter before we got married. So being pregnant in the church
In the
and
church.
not being married.
Oof. Talk
You-
about church pressure.
The ridicule. That's what it is a whole different conversation now. So yes, there was some pressure felt by the church that you all should get married.
So the external pressure didn't help. And then your dreams and then missing the red flags and all of that. Here's the thing. So here's the thing with and this is we're doing this because we want to tell others out there, especially our daughters, because we both have daughters growing up, and the sons out there, because I have a son and I don't want him to make any woman's life a living hell. Right? I always say that if my son gets married, but anyway, that's a whole different story. I will probably he's not gonna like me if he's treating his wife unfairly. Let's just put it there. Because that's gonna be my daughter at that point. Don't come after my son unless you're right though. Yeah, just putting that out there. Okay, anyway, I digress. Here's the thing. When we acquiesce to the external pressures, when we acquiesce to the conditioning of the environment on our minds to what life ought to be, the dream that it's supposed to be, the partners that what they're supposed to do, when we're supposed to do it, how we're supposed to do it, we make the wrong decisions. And then because we both grew up in the church environment, and so we wanted to do what was right, that was an additional pressure that did not come from God.
Yeah.
It did not come from God because there's nowhere in the Bible that says that you ought to rush into a relationship simply because we have made a mistake. And we say mistake because that's how it's labeled, right? There were certain aspects of marriage that I guess I thought, being a good wife meant keeping a home clean, keeping your husband happy, children, everything. But there was no room in it for me.
Oh, so
There was no room. at the inn for Mary, right?
There was no room for you. So there was a point in time where I taught that as well, or something similar.
Mhm.
You know, no matter how you're being treated in your
Oh.
marriage, no matter what your spouse is doing, your husband, in my case,
Mhm.
if I just submit,
Girl,
let
everything
me
will.
be obedient to God and submit, and then
Girl,
He is going to fix everything
everything.
and make my partner love me the way that he should and
Mhm.
make him respect me the way that he should.
Mhm.
That didn't happen.
No, it did not.
All right.
No, it did not.
And in terms of the pressure from the church, because I remember at one point in time in my marriage, and I hope I'm not getting too personal here, right?
No, no, no. And if we need to,
Um,
we could cut whatever we want to cut.
at one point in time in my marriage, there was an issue with another female,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And apparently, it was just a friend at the time, but I just saw that the friendship crossed boundaries, right? And I would have spoken to the pastor, my pastor at the point in time. I don't go to that church anymore. And I remember him saying to me, he said, if it is your coming to me to tell you that it's okay to get a divorce, I am not going to do that. What I'm going to tell you though is to go home and submit to your husband. So
I'm taking a deep breath before I respond.
when I say it's a totally different conversation, the pressure that comes from the church
Yeah.
for young adults who are
For
dating,
the women
you
in
don't have
particular.
to feel obligated to
I don't
rush
think the
into
men feel
marriage.
that pressure, the women feel that pressure. I feel like I've never heard men sit and complain about their pastor giving them the wrong advice.
But you know,
You know?
the next thing about that, you see, those marriages are the ones that don't last.
Mm.
They end so fast because you want to do the right thing based on what the church thinks. You don't want to fornicate, so let me get married. So I
Yeah.
won't be committing a sin.
Because it's all for the wrong reasons.
But how long does the marriage actually last?
That's right. That has been an issue for as long as the church has existed. That women are seen in a more submissive role, and we don't realize that when we talk about what is in the Bible, it's wives submit to your husband as your husband submits to Christ. There's submission by both parties. So why is it then that we find it necessary to put the pressure of submitting on a woman, and the men do however they want, whatever they want, however they want, whenever they want? And we, in the meantime, we as women are trying to carry something as if we, if you have kids, if you have two kids, you now have three, because you're carrying your husband as if he's another child, rather than a couple holding up the responsibilities of a marriage and parenthood, and all the things that go with that. So you feel stuck.
Yep.
And then I don't know if anybody ever told you, well, you put yourself in it, so you have to deal with it.
Oh, worse than that. Worse than that. Worse than that.
I have gotten that so many times that it's, and then I started to tell myself that I thought, yeah, well, I made that decision, so this is on me. And while that may be truth, if you got yourself in it, and on the way here we were talking about what God has joined together. God didn't necessarily join us together, right? So does that hold? Because that is what is when the word is thrown at you as a
Yes.
missile, those are the
Yes.
things that you hear. What God has joined together, let no man put asunder. Well, did God actually join that together, or is it just our choice, right? And so
It was definitely my choice.
yeah, it was my choice too. So I had to, and then it comes down to this is the decision to stay in it ours, or is it someone else's?
The decision wasn't mine.
Mm.
I decided to stay. Like I said before, I told myself, if I submit, right?
Sure, I'm beginning to laugh.
Using submission as an act of obedience to God.
Yes.
It's like looking at it as this is my way of serving God.
Yeah.
No matter what's going on in the marriage, how I'm being treated, I am going to submit.
Yeah.
And I remember at one point in time telling my ex-husband, because apart from the first female that we're talking about, right? Then there came another female in the picture, right?
Oh wow, this was a serial situation.
Yeah, a serious situation, right? And this one he was actually in a relationship with.
Oh my goodness.
And I remember telling him, I'm like, the only reason that I am with you is because I do not want to go against God's word.
How is that so far? Like, I know you're enjoying this, I'm enjoying this, so let's just get back into part 2 of our discussion in the midst of it.